What's going on, guys? In this video we'll be navigating the site called Gamefaqs.com. Today's lesson will be a little different in that we won't be examining the HTML content by using the Chrome or Firefox developers tools as we always do. Instead, we're going to do everything from the Python console / Jupyter Notebook. Now, Gamefaqs is a video game site that uploads FAQs on all types of video games. FAQs are pretty much like walkthroughs. Each console system has its own dedicated web page along with message boards. So let's just take a look at the website. So this is the website. It pretty much has a list of the most popular games. It also has message boards. And then if you're interested in different systems, each system has its own dedicated web page. So if you go to 3DS, they'll have top 10 games, top 10 message boards, and then also have upcoming game releases. And you can actually navigate through their FAQs and a bunch of other tabs. So let's just go back to the original site, Gamefaqs.com. So we're going to be navigating this site from the Jupyter Notebook. Instead of using these developer tools like Firebug and trying to find a certain div and section through these developer tools, what we want to do is we want to do most of our work through the Jupyter Notebook. So let me just go back to the Jupyter Notebook, and just like last time, I have all the code laid out, so it's just easier for me to explain things instead of trying to type and explain things. Alright, so as always, the first thing we're going to do is import requests and then import beautiful soup. And our headers is going to be a simple user agent Mozilla. And this is something we've done numerous times. If you guys don't know how beautiful soup or request works, I suggest you guys take a look at my earlier videos. So I've actually written the response.status code a few times because I was having problems connecting with Gamefaqs. So I'm going to just test this out, and if the status code is good, then I don't have to worry about the problem I had earlier. So I'm going to import everything, and let's just check the status code. Okay, the status code is 200, so that means I don't have to resort to the hackish tactics, which I had to resort to earlier. So we're just going to skip this. I was getting the 401 error, and this was the only method that was working. Request.session. I had to create a session object, and then I had to use that to do the get requests. But in this case, it seems like I don't have to rely on this hackish sort of tactic. Alright, so we're just going to move on. So we made a get request, and we downloaded all the info into a variable called response. And once again, we're going to create a soup object to parse all the downloaded HTML content. Alright, so now we're just going to click on soup.title. And this is the title of the web page, Gamefaqs, video game cheats, reviews, blah, blah, blah. All right, so let's just take a look at some of the text we downloaded. By using soup.getText, we get to look at all the text that's included within HTML content. And strip equals true is just going to get rid of any new lines, I think also tab spaces, but it gets rid of all the unnecessary blank spaces. All right. So this is, actually it didn't get rid of new lines, I'm surprised. It's supposed to get rid of new lines, but I'm not really sure in this case. But so we're just going to take a look at some of the content. This seems to be all HTML, not HTML, JavaScript. So let's just go down. Then we have the systems that are available. Game Boy Advance system. The system that I'm interested in is a PlayStation Vita. I actually own a Vita. It's not too popular, but I figured we'll try to get some more information on the PlayStation Vita. What's the most popular games, and what are some upcoming games, and things like that. So let's just, I'm going to get out of this, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to try to find, I think that's fireworks. Anyway, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to try to look for the string Vita that's located within this HTML content. So we're not looking for any HTML tags. In this case, we're just trying to find all the strings that have the word Vita. So we're looking for any string that has the word Vita within this HTML content. All right, so soup.findAll string equals Vita. So I actually made two different instances of this. The first one has a capital V and the second one has a lowercase v. So if we if we actually run this, we'll see that there was actually one instance of Vita found within the HTML tags. Now, if you click this, you'll see that there are no instances found. The capital letter V and the lowercase letter v actually seems to be making a difference. So it's advisable to test out both different keywords. So we have this, we're pulling out the string Vita, but that doesn't really help us too much because we can't really do anything with just this word. It's pulling out the word, it's found the word, but we want to find the section that has this word. So one way we can do that is by using the find parents method. So we're using the same code as above with Vita, and now I'm just adding a 0 here because I just want to show you guys that this is actually a result set. So it's returning a list-like object. So as you can see, it's a result set, and if we check the len, let me just copy this. If we check the len, just move this down a little bit. Okay, you'll see that hopefully it's only one. Okay, it's only one. So there's only one tag holding the word Vita. So what we can do is we can since the result set is only one element, what we can do is index that one element. We're going to use the 0th index. So soup.findAll string equals Vita, and we're pulling out the 0th index of this result set. So remember, this is a result set. So it's like a string-like object, and we want to pull out one element, the only element in this case from the result set. And what we're going to do is now we're going to use this method called find parents. So find parents is actually going to find the section where we found the string Vita. So let's just run this. Alright, it returns actually a list, and it returns what seems to be many different elements. So all of these seem to be parents of this string Vita. Let's just check the length. Let me just get out of here. Let's just check how many results we found. Okay, so I'm going to check len, and then soup.find. I'm going to just copy this code again, and I'm going to run it. So we found 9 different instances. So let's just go back, and let's run this. Alright, so we can see at href, this is Vita. So this is how we probably get to the Vita section. So commas usually separate each element within a list. So in this case, this should be the first element, and then this is the second element, which continues, and it's just outputting the different systems. So I guess the header that we saw, so I'm guessing this header here is probably, it's within some kind of a tag. Then we have some list, games, but there seems to be no info on Vita. All we see is this href. Remember, we only found one instance of Vita. So I'm assuming this is the only instance, this is the only tag where Vita is located, and this / Vita. So this is pretty much just giving us an extension to the web page so we can navigate. So it's just a way to navigate to the Vita homepage. But if we just scroll down, once again, all I see is this. So it's the same instance we found. Alright, so I guess the best thing is we'll go to the Vita page. Alright, so let me just clear this. We had a len. Alright, yeah, so before we do that, I just wanted to show you guys, let's just go back up here. So we only found one instance of a Vita, and by looking through the code earlier, we saw that it was located within an A tag. So let me just run this again. Not this, let me just run this again to make sure. So it's located within the A tag and had an href. So this was the only instance we found of the string Vita. We can just double check that by using soup.findAll, and we'll use different tags, and we'll continue using the same string Vita. So we use the tag P, in this case the paragraph, and we're going to search for string Vita. So we shouldn't find anything in this case because the only instance we found when we used findAll was one instance, and the one instance was located within the A tag. So let's just make sure by checking the P tag, which usually holds the most amount of text. So let me just click this, and we're getting an empty set, an empty list. So let's just check the A now, and we should be getting at least one instance. So if you click this, here we go, we're getting that one result that we had found earlier when we used the findAll, soup.findAll. Alright, so we're getting this one result. So what we want to do now is we can actually just grab this. So let me just click this, and here we go. We get this / Vita, which we can just add to the www.gamefaqs.com. So that now the new link is including the Vita portion. We're using the same headers, and we're now going to get a response. Let's just check the response status code. Alright, so response status code is good. So we're going to use Beautiful Soup, create a Beautiful Soup object. And now let's just take a look at some of the text that we are going to parse with the Beautiful Soup. Alright, so let's see. Once again, so now we're in actually the Vita page. So let's just take a look. PlayStation Vita cheats. So that just confirms that we are indeed in the Vita page. And let's see if we could find anything interesting. So these are just all the different systems. Forget your username. PlayStation hardware. Then you have the message board here. Let's see. These are all the games. We can actually try to look through all the different games, but the thing I want to look for is the top 10. So this to me, here we go, top 10 games. I want to actually find this section, top 10 games. And the other thing, so we have the top 10 games, and the other thing I was interested in is upcoming PlayStation Vita game releases. So these are two things I'm interested in. I would like to pull these out and print them out in a nice clean format. Alright, so we're going to get out of this, and I copied the top 10 games. So let me just print it. Alright, so top 10 games. So we're going to actually search as a string for the top 10 games, and then we're going to use find parents again and try to get the section. Try to find the section where the top 10 games are located. Alright, so soup.findAll string equals top 10 games. I'm going to just run this. And there's only one instance of this. Alright, so that's good. So we're just going to focus on that one instance. So soup.findAll string equals top 10 games. And since there's only one instance, we're going to use the 0th index, and we're going to find the parent of this instance. This will give us an idea of the section that contains the tags and elements that are holding this top 10 games string. So let's just click this. Alright, so we're getting a list, and as you can see there's a comma here. So this should be the first element of the list. Then we have top 10 games, top 10 games. Let's see. Then we have a list. This should be an ordered list, LI. Alright, so this is the first game, it seems to be, which is located in href. It says Persona 4 Golden. So this is actually the link to this game. Let's see what else we have. Okay, so we have the next game here. And actually, so the title is actually here. So within this ordered list, we have list items, we have the title here. So this is one of the titles, Persona 4 Golden. Then you have Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. So this is number 2. So this seems to be all located within span and maybe even href. It seems to be located within a list. First it's a list, you have a list item, and then you have the anchor tag with the href, and the text of the anchor tag seems to be holding these games. Alright, so I'm not sure if this is the first. This could be the second item or the third item in the list. Let's see. The first item in the list is just this, so we don't need this. The second item is just this. Remember, these commas divide up the list. So each element is divided or separated by a comma. So it's most likely the third element in the list. Remember, this soup.findAll, this soup.findAll.0.findParents is actually finding all the parents. So it's finding a list of the parent tags. So in this case, there's a bunch of them. So we want to find the one that is holding all of the info of the top 10 games. Alright, so we're just going to just exit this, and now we already checked the length. It was something like 9. We're just going to run through the first 3 or 4 elements of the list and see which one's holding the information that we want. Alright, so all I'm doing is I'm taking this find parents, and I'm just slicing it via index. So index 0, index 1, index 2. So let's just run this, and the 0th index, as we saw earlier, is only holding the title, top 10 games. It's not really holding the content that we're looking for. So let's just run the first index, and the first index is very similar, but it's also holding a title, top 10 games, but it's not holding the info that we want. So let's just run the second index. And the second index seems to be holding a lot more info. And as you can see, it's holding Persona 4 Golden, Digimon Story. So these are the titles. I'm not sure how you pronounce this, but it's holding all the titles of what seems to be the top 10 games. And that's what we're interested in pulling out. So let's just get out of here. Yeah, so we're going to use this. Remember, this was the second element. So we're actually going to save that section. We're going to save it to a variable called top 10 Vita games. So top 10 Vita games is going to hold the second element of the find parents list that we just ran. So let me just run this. We're just going to run it and just make sure that it is indeed holding all the items. So if we look at it, we can see that it is indeed holding the titles that we're interested in. But we got to see now, we got to look at exactly where, how these titles are being held. So you can see Persona 4 Golden, it's held within an anchor and a list. So this LI stands for list item, and the A stands for an anchor. So one thing we can do is we can try to find these list items. Remember, list items are usually held within an ordered list. So first we're going to have to find the ordered list, because the ordered list has all these list items, and we're looking for each of these list items all the way to the 10th game. So we're going to pull out the list, the ordered list, then we're going to try to find each list item. And then within each list item, we want to find the anchor, and then we want to find the text of the anchor, because this seems to be the text of the anchor. So let's just do that. I'm going to just clear this output. And this code does exactly what we just talked about. So for I in the top 10 Vita games, so top 10 Vita games should be a tag or an element. Let's just make sure, and let's just check the type. If we check the type, and we run this, okay, it is indeed a tag. So we want to find within this tag, we're going to use this tag, and we want to find that OL. We only found one OL, the ordered list, so that's why I'm using find. With find, I don't have to slice anything. It's just going to find the first instance of the ordered list. But in our case, since there's only one instance of the ordered list, we are okay. So we're going to find that, and then within this ordered list, we want to find all instances of LI. Right? So this is going to find about 10 different list items. And then we're going to iterate through each of the list items and get the text. We were supposed to find the anchor and get the text, but in this case, this might work because we can try both ways actually. So let's just run this first, okay? We run this, and it's pulling out the text, but it's not pulling it out as cleanly. Let's see, there's a lot of gaps in between. Persona 4 Gold, it doesn't even have the number associated with it, I guess because this is the first place, but it doesn't look very clean. It's we're going to have to do some string formatting. So let me just get out of this, but at least it works. So let's just try, I'm going to copy this, and let's just try i.find, and I'll use A, and then we'll use the get text. So what we're doing is for each list item, we're trying to find the anchor tag, and then we're going to get the text. And let's run this and let's see how it looks. So if we run this, it looks pretty similar. Let me just run the earlier one. Yeah, so this one seems to have a lot more white space, but we can easily get rid of the white space by using strip. Strip just gets rid of the extra white space. So if we run this, all right, so it gets rid of some of the white space. And let's just look at how this looks. All right, so this seems to look very similar. Let's just strip. Yeah, so there seems to be no difference between this and this. They look pretty much identical. Alright, so we're going to have to do a little string formatting because right now it doesn't look very clean. What I want to do is, let's just look at this one more time. Despite using strip, a lot of this white space is not going away. Strip usually takes away the white space that are to the left and right of an item. So in this case, we've probably already gotten rid of all the white space from the left and right, but for some reason we're not getting rid of the white space here, and we're not getting rid of the white space here. So what that means is that these two are connected. So the 02 and Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth are connected. They're actually one item, and all this white space white space is actually all the white space in between these two. So all this white space here as well, you have all this white space is all the white space in between these two. So we're going to have to do a little some tricky string formatting to get rid of the white space in between the ranking and the title. So let's just make sure that that is indeed the case. I'm going to pull out one element, the first element from that list. So this list is holding 10 elements. The first one doesn't seem to have too much white space and doesn't even have a ranking. So I'm going to look at the second element. Yeah, so that's what this code is doing here. It's pulling out the second element. And let's just run this. Okay. So if you run this, you can see there's a new line, then you have the ranking, second ranking, and then you have more new line, which is in between here, more white space, and then a new line. We can get rid of these outer new lines by using strip. So let me just show you that. Dot strip, text dot strip, oops, and this will get rid of the outer new lines. So we got rid of the outer new lines, but we still stuck with all this white space. So this we want to get rid of that. So we're going to have to do some tricky string formatting to do that. So for I in top 10 video games, we're going to find the items again, and the first thing we're going to do is actually split everything. We're going to split each of the list items wherever there's space. So let me just run this again. So as you can see, there's space here, and then there's space here, there's space here, there's space here. So wherever there's space, it's going to split up this list item and it's going to create a list. So let me just show you what I mean. And here we get, to me, what looks pretty clean. It looks like a very clean list. So we have 10 different lists, Persona 4, and they're all split. And it's split wherever there was a space. So doing that, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to join them by space. So let me just show you the code for that. So this looks a little tricky, but all we're doing is we're taking these elements from a list and we're going to join them by space. So everything is going to be joined by space. And what I mean is we're going to bring back the space. But in this case, we're only bringing back one space. And you'll see what I mean when I run this code. Okay. And here we go. So this to me looks a lot cleaner. Unfortunately, Persona 4 Golden is the only one without a ranking, but pretty self-evident or pretty self-explanatory that Persona 4 Golden is the first one on the list. And if you want, you can add a 0-1, but that's just, it's going to take a lot more work. Yeah, so if you want, you can always save this to a text file, or you can just run this from the command prompt and you'll get a list. You can run this probably like every month or so to see how the lists are being updated. You can get a nice list all from your command prompt. So this video went on longer than I expected, so what we're going to do is in the next video we will tackle the upcoming PlayStation Vita game releases. So earlier I had said that I wanted to pull out two different lists. One was the top 10 most popular games, which we already did, and the next thing I want to do is pull out the upcoming PlayStation Vita game releases, which was sort of on the bottom of the Gamefaqs page. So in the next video, we're going to tackle that. Alright, so I'll see you guys next time.